Top of the morning. There's still a lot of road work near my house, so excuse the noise, but it's Monday, it's a new week. I have just about 1 week left until I start my new job. So this will be part 5 of the 81 Trans Am restoration. And we're gonna see how much work we can get done before I start working full time. And yeah, kind of go from there. So I think I'm in frame, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm kind of assuming I am. But what I have behind me is quite exciting. So, back over yonder, things I haven't really filmed is, this is covered in a different video. This is a 302 5-liter small block Ford for Romeo the Ranger. This is a 305 small block Chevy that I got as part of the deal with the Trans Am. I was told this was a 350. Unfortunately, it's not. I'm probably just going to end up stealing a couple things off it. I'm interested in, I've never fucked with carburetors really, so I would like to rebuild this Holly. I don't know what intake manifold is under here. It's pretty grimy, so this whole thing needs to be cleaned up regardless, because I just do plan on selling it, because at the moment it's basically just a boat anchor. But you know, still little odds and ends here and there and whatnot, but figure if I can make a couple $100 off this, I'll be happy. And we got this bad mama. So this was it is an 86 one-piece main 350 small block. It ran the night before I picked it up. I have a video of it running on a stand, so at least I know the thing runs solid and it sounds really good. Okay. All right, ready? So I guess I'll cover the plans on this later, but for today I would be happy if I can move the engines around a little bit again, pull this thing out. It still has the automatic flex plate on it. I was unsuccessful with getting the bolts off I think a couple days ago when I got the engine, because I wanted to put this onto the stand rather than having the 305 up there. But I did pick up these nifty little things from a guy on Facebook for 20 bucks. It's like a small block Chevy engine stand, or yeah, like an engine cradle, I guess you could call it. So, I don't know, depending how today goes, maybe I'll clean the 305 up and then throw it onto one of those stands. I can slide it under the workbench rather than having something sit on a tire like this. It kind of, you know, isn't the best. But I would like to get my 350 onto the stand so that I can start dealing with, you know, the fun stuff of getting the fucking original manifolds off of it. And I want to say this thing was already cleaned up. It's actually in really like clean shape, if you will. And I want to say it was painted orange, which I would not be keeping. But yeah, I guess, and you know, I got those little mamas for it and whatnot. But all right, well, I'll cover that at some point later in the video. But yeah, so today's goal, like I said, is going to be moving these fucking things around and whatnot. And I guess we'll go from there. But first things first, gotta take a little daily ripper out. Go get some coffee. So, alrighty, back after getting some coffee, ready to get into this shit. So obviously I gotta move. I don't think I have to move the 302. I think I just have to scoot this thing out of the way, move those 2 little stands, and then I can hook the cherry picker up to this. I also really wouldn't mind cleaning up my fucking mess that I have, you know, created, and getting the cherry picker back into my backyard, just so that when either I'm working on a car in here or if my mom's parking in here, just so there's more room, because it's, you know, a bit of a tight squeeze from here to here with all this shit in the way. So it would be nice if I can get this thing out of the way, get some of this shit back out of here. I forget if I mentioned it or not, but I did piece together a clutch that I hope will work for this. I had to get a flywheel for a one-piece main 86 and up 350, which this is, and then I also had to get a pressure plate and clutch that obviously would fit that flywheel, but on top of that was a 26 spline input shaft for the Super T10 Borg Warner trans that is currently in the Trans Am. Apparently, as far as research and old forums were telling me, apparently the transmission in the Trans Am is actually a really good trans. So with that being said, I figured I'd keep it rather than, you know, swapping over to a Muncie or anything like that. I did have the opportunity to buy a 350 that was already paired up with a Muncie. I think it was an M20, but just to keep things simple, keep the budget down, I figured, you know, still, if we're going low buck, just trying to get this fucking thing to have some nuts, have fun, restore it, learn a lot along the way and whatnot. So I'll quit talking and I'll set this up. I'll start moving some shit around and we'll go from there. Deals on marketplace is a cheap fuck. It's actually a lot easier to pull out than I thought it was going to be. This is definitely going to be fun to pull out. It's quite the experience shuffling. And just like that, the 350 has been unearthed. Alrighty, we got the trusty dusty little 305. I don't know what this is. I feel like this is like a mechanical fuel pump or something over here. So shoved the rag into that. I bagged off the alternator, the carburetor, and the distributor since it's missing a cap. And then this thing also still has all the plugs in it, so I'm not too worried about that. And this thing seems like it seals okay. And for whatever reason, this looks like it's like a block off plate. Like I tried to pop this rubber piece out and I couldn't. So I'm just not gonna focus the water I spray in, you know, into certain areas that I'm kind of sketched out about. But yeah, it should be all right. So like I said, don't want to put too much time into this thing, but I figure it's worth cleaning up, list it for sale, see how much I can get for it just to recoup some money, and you know, add that back onto the total for the car. So yeah, first I'm gonna blow this thing. I'm gonna use the leaf blower, blow off all of the shit that's been, you know, sitting on it, and then I'll pull the pressure washer out, spray this thing with something. You can tell like everything's been like painted at some point and whatnot, but yeah, I'm gonna spray it down with something like a degreaser and then pressure washer. Take some before, see just how nasty this fucking thing is. Alrighty, so from aside from you know, getting everything in my garage wet, this thing cleaned up okay. I didn't really expect much less. I didn't really expect much more. I just sprayed the shit out of it with this stuff, and then let it sit for a couple minutes while I set the pressure washer up, and just went to town spraying the shit out of it. So like I said, aside from the garage being covered with shit and me as well, cleaned up not too bad. I wasn't expecting this thing to like shine. You know, most of these spots it actually isn't even grime, it's missing paint. The majority of it did clean up pretty well. So probably gonna let it air dry, go feed Carmelo lunch, maybe eat myself, and it's still a little dirty, you know, only so much you can do. Yeah, already it's looking so much fucking better. So ideally I was thinking, just off the bat, stealing this manifold, this intake manifold, and the Holly that's under here that definitely needs a rebuild. Think about stealing them for the Trans Am, just due to the fact that this intake manifold doesn't have any of the smog and like air ports that the 350 has, or that the Trans Am actually has at the moment. So just off that, you know, it looks a lot nicer. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. You know, looks a lot nicer, and something of this nature is like the color that I plan on painting. It would be this manifold and probably the whole 350. I don't know, I need to do a little bit of research into what the original Trans Am motors look like, because I don't really know. I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. But I did end up getting the flywheel off. A little bit crusty back here, but not too bad. I think I already mentioned this thing's been painted before. I think it was painted like literally right before I got it. So you can see the heads are black, top end's black, bottom end's orange, and then the pan is black for whatever reason. So I mean, it definitely looks nice, but I'm definitely not keeping an orange engine in the car. It'd be, I don't know, to me, kind of cheap in my opinion. But alrighty, so I think I already showed, but at least now I don't have the bags on it. She cleaned up pretty alright. Not too shabby. So, like I said, I'm probably just gonna steal the carb off this, honestly. I don't know if it's even worth taking the manifold, intake manifold. But probably just steal the carb off of it and get this fucking thing onto my short little stand so I can slide it under my workbench. And yeah, she'll go up for sale. I don't really know how much I can get for a 305. Especially for the fact that I don't know anything about it, but yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But alright, I think my last clip I showed what the 305 cleaned up to be. Not, not terrible for whatever the hell it is. But I will say my dincy little stands come very much in handy, and yeah, this is definitely gonna be good. So as counterproductive as it might be, if I had a second chain, this would go a lot quicker. So I got this thing down on its little stand. I'm gonna pull the chain back off, put the chain back onto the 350, put the 350 onto the stand for the first time, and then from there, once that is here, I can take this and shove it under there. I figure I'll probably list it up. I'll do some research to see what the hell these things are even going for, and then list it for sale tonight after I'm done getting down and dirty. But yeah, like I said, these little stand is definitely coming in handy. So pretty cool. And it luckily, even these back bolts, these front two are the these are just the motor mount bolts that came off of these big old blocks over there yonder. So thankfully these all fit. I didn't have to go get new hardware or anything. Yeah, so that's that. So now I'm gonna work on chain back off of this, chain back onto that, pull that bitch up, put her onto here. All right, so I got the itty bitty 305. Like I said, it's on its little baby stand. It's under the workbench. It's out of the way, so that's good. Of course, I got all this fun stuff. But any hoosins, here's that second stand. So you can see what it looks like. Literally just goes to the motor mount, and then on the back it goes to one of the bell housing bolts. So yeah, and then I just have this. Of course, I get this wire. That's just a starter from the 350. I figured I'd have it tucked to the side, but yeah, so I got this thing tucked away, which is nice, and then I got the 350, my good old 350, up on the stand. I sprayed the exhaust manifold bolts. I'll probably spray them at least 1 or 2 more times before I even attempt to take them off. But yeah, I figure once I get, I can get these off, I can kind of clean the engine up a little bit. Might leave the carb on it for now. I mean, it doesn't really hurt to have it on it. I probably will be pulling this off at some point. I don't really have any plans on keeping this thing. These things are so interesting to me. I don't know, too many flaps and things, but it's also very fun to do that. But like I said, pull the exhaust manifolds off this thing because they're useless to me. Also, I thought it was very interesting for those who have not seen a stock Chevy from like the 70s and 80s, or I guess mostly 80s. So they have this vacuum pressured valve on the passenger side manifold, and it literally closes off the valve and almost closes the manifold off completely, I guess for emissions. The Trans Am still had the vacuum port hooked up. So when you were driving the car, as soon as it would make vacuum, it would shut the port. Thought that was interesting, to say the least. But as I have repeated myself multiple times, take a couple things off this that I don't need, and then once we're at that point, we'll see how far I need to pull this thing apart to paint it. Like I said, I want to do like a teal or a turquoise color to match like what the stock Pontiac color was back in the day, just to make it, you know, make it look a little bit nicer, and it won't be as much of an eyesore in the engine bay, whereas I feel like the orange would kind of look a little stupid. So yeah, that's that. And like I said, I still want to clean up my mess that I've created while doing all the body work and stuff. And I figure while I have the pressure washer hooked up, and I still need to put the hoist in the backyard. So basically that means good old Tammy Lynn's got to get moved. So probably gonna move her out, pull her up in the driveway. I'll probably pull it up as close as I can to the door. I'll put the car up on ramps in the front, and I've been meaning to do it and I haven't. I would like to power wash the underneath of the car.
Alrighty.
I know the transmission and the bottom of the engine are pretty
almost
grimy.
daily.
So
Fire up of Tammy Lynn. Oh, close. It's crazy to me that this thing like wants to idle and everything now. When I first got it, it just did not. And I also like the fact that it sometimes is oil pressure, so that's good. Yeah, I still need to, I want to say I talked about it in my last video. RPM gauge is just completely gone, so I would like to take care of that. That's one of those things that would be nice to have, so at some point. But yeah, I haven't really touched, I actually have not touched anything else on the interior since I started doing the body work and had the headliner down and whatnot. I still do have that one dent right above this, which these two holes can sort of get me to, and yeah, it'd be nice to get that dent popped out as much as I can, and before I even bother touching it with filler. I'm gonna have my fun of pulling the hood off and taking that fender off to get this door to be slid back and kind of cockeyed, so that, you know, I don't have gaps like this and like this, and you know how it goes, just down the rabbit hole. But yeah, she's you know, it's been doing good. When this thing's actually warmed up, it actually runs pretty smooth, like revving wise, which is pretty exciting. So I think I've definitely said it before. You know, there's been multiple days where I've just wanted to not drive the Jeep to get coffee, and I've taken this, and it does exactly as it should. So as sketchy as it is, it's still really cool to drive, and it's pretty fun, even though it's a little sketchy. But you know, we'll get her there. I'll be more excited to drive this thing, obviously, when like everything else is good and the car looks a little bit better. But when it's a bit more reliable with the 350 swap, and also I would like to take care of like how this thing rattles sideways as soon as you start it and stuff like that. But this thing's definitely cool. Definitely cool. I'm happy that this is like my first classic car, you know. All right, I don't think I've ever, obviously she's up on ramps now, I don't think I ever showed an underside of this car, so I guess I'll show it before and after. You can see that like turquoise tealish color. That's the color I want for the 350. But anywho, you can see she's just oily, and you know, she's old. You know, what do you expect? You know, you can see how dirty everything else is. So primarily I'd like to focus on getting most of the stuff off of the drivetrain itself. That also kind of helps slim down as to what's leaking if I care to ever fix it. But for what this car is, she really ain't half bad. Also, you can see my rigged up pipe that I have, and that's where the cat used to be. But she ain't half bad. Ain't too bad. I've had cars that leak worse, and we're alrighty. So I just got done power washing. So I did the underneath basically, and then I also hit a couple spots in the bay. And it's actually crazy how like some of, you know, like that's actually pretty nice black paint. And you know, from here I was actually able to get some parts of the trans and like engine and stuff that I couldn't reach from the bottom. This actually cleaned up pretty damn good, even though it's still like, you know, corroding aluminum. Same with the smog pump.
but they definitely cleaned up better than they were. Obviously I don't want to spray on top to shoot it this way and risk going into the alternator itself, so I kind of just took it easy with it. But you know, sprayed off the fan blade and a little bit of this and down here, and just kind of did like an over of the bay, but nothing too crazy, obviously, because you don't want to spray this shit in the wires, and you don't want to spray it into something like this where it's gonna get water into the oil, because that is no fun. But like I said, she cleaned up pretty good in here, actually. I thought it was funny. Before the steering light, this thing's silver again. You know, stuff like that. Some of the radiator paint actually came off, and it's exposed now. It's like bronze color, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just gave her like a little basic bath in here, nothing too crazy. But I did get some more of this paint showing, so like I said, I would like to have the 350 that color. I think that would be rock solid if it could be that. And you can see it over here on the back bracket and whatnot, but yeah, she's definitely cleaned up good in here. And underneath, came out even better. So obviously I didn't get under here and scrub anything, but for basically just spraying degrease, same thing I did with the 305 engine this morning. Sprayed a shit ton of degreaser, and then I just power washed the living hell out of it. Like you can see, like I guess it's like the subframe, like the cross member, it actually is like silver again. And try to reach this under here. Definitely cleaned up way better than it was. Obviously it's still wet, so it might look a little bit better, it might even look a little bit worse, but definitely nicer than she was. On the side, transmission's actually silver again. Ugh. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So, she ain't too bad under here. So here's one weird spot. I'll go on the other side to show you how it cleaned up. I'll also show you the hole in the floor, because I don't know if I've ever really shown it on the channel. Stop too quick. Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out. Where the hell is it? It's kind of hard to miss. Oh, here it is. Boom. So that's carpet right there. So the heater core is right above that, and I'm pretty sure the heater core is what did this. So, you know, that'll be another day's project. You can see I couldn't really get up top. If I did this with the car on stands, at some point, obviously, you know, I plan on. Obviously, I've talked about the 350 today, so kind of nice to get something like this done, because whenever the car does get put under the knife for just a small black 350 to go in, I don't know why I just kind of got into like just a 305. A little bit of Pitbull voice. Dale. Alrighty, before I shut my hose off, I figured I gave Bonnie a little bit of a bath because she's been filthy. Always try to do that every couple of weeks, just to keep any growth off of her, even though, you know, I got moss or algae starting on the back. But anyways, I figured, sprayed her off, got Tammy a little wet. So I said, screw it. Spray the Trans Am off. And this thing, it's actually pretty funny how dirty it was. I know when it dries, it's probably not gonna look too much different. It looks so good when it's wet. So this thing would look pretty cool with paint. Also, apparently I have a dent here. I didn't know I had a dent there, so that's fun. I also found another dent on the fender over here, funny enough. I think it's here. Oh, I knew about this one. Yeah, there's another one right here. I knew about this one here. We're getting there. It's looking good. We'll see how much water got in, because I don't think I have anything back here on the tightest. And then obviously this, and it's not like I sprayed it directly into here, you know, I was basically trying to avoid it. Oh, that seat is wet. No, I would assume it's probably all of this whole T-top side is my guess what's leaking, but honestly, it's probably kind of nice that I did this. Also, that's nice, eh? Probably pretty nice that I did this just so I can see exactly what leaks in this freaking car. So, yeah, but I got the hoist put away. I still got to wrap this up, put it away. I'm going to let it cool down a bit more. Still need to spray some more oil on the bolts on this before I even bother touching it. And like I said, I'd like to straighten this up a little bit. She almost looks like a predator. Need to plan a day where I can go to the scrapyard and the dump, so I can. I'll put a picture in. Kind of funny, but yeah. So far, so good today. No complaints. You know, everything's been going good. I'm definitely excited to. One of these days, I definitely want to take care of doing the panel gaps and finishing the roof, and then maybe I will completely 100% the body work before next week, just so that's, you know, one big thing off my list would be the body. And then, you know, once parts start coming in and stuff like that, I can take care of doing the engine swap. So we'll see. I've, as much as I don't want to say it, I guess I might as well admit it. A nice oily driveway. Promise I'm good for the environment. I have been reaching out to people on Facebook just to see, you know, if anybody would want Tammy. Not necessarily in the state that she exactly sits in, but maybe a little bit further down the line. Let's say when I've finished the body work or, you know, something of that nature. But I figure it doesn't hurt per se to kind of see what my options are. You know, if I was to trade this rather than sell it outright when that time comes. We'll see. I don't know. My mind's all over the place as always, but I definitely have been enjoying my time with this car, and yeah, she's coming out awesome so far. Alrighty, so Tammy's tucked in for the night. Funny enough, it does look like the top of the windshield leaks. And then obviously the passenger seat was wet just from, you know, all the seals over here not being the best at the moment. But aside from that, she's mint. So that's cool. Again, still running good and whatnot. So love to see it. We're not going to talk about that. I do have a weird exhaust rattle coming from the Jeep. I think it might be the cat shield. So as much as I don't want to lay on the rocks, I think I will, just to see if it's something easy I can just pop off just to get the noise out of my head. And I need to move my mom's car back in the driveway at some point, but this is my new mess I need to take on. So gonna at least organize this a little bit. So I guess the easy way of doing this is alrighty, with my stuff cleaned up, if you will, I guess just slightly straightened up. Same with over here, kind of just organized my garbage. But yeah, I think that's basically gonna wrap up tonight, so I can slap this video together and whatnot. I just have to throw these in the backyard, which is nothing entertaining. But as I showed earlier, gave Bonnie a little bath. Tammy also got a baby bath, and now is in her final resting spot for the night. Oh yeah, yep, oh yeah, look at that, glory shot. And then, like I said, I'm gonna check out what the noise is on the Jeep, see if it's something simple. If it is, I'll take care of it. I'll have videos out on Romeo soon. And yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for part 5 of my 81 Trans Am restoration. So, at some point soon, as I've said many, many times, these will get zipped off, this will get pulled, and at some point I'll swap out the distributor that's on the 305 in the car at the moment, because it's a newer unit, same with the wires. Swap all that stuff over, and then here is my Holly carb that came off of my spare 305 that I'm selling. Keeping this thing, and I'm going to give a shot at rebuilding it, so I need to order a rebuild kit as well, because Pep Boys, of course, has been out. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys
update under my rusty ass Jeep for anybody that cares. I want to say that this is my noise, little broken hanger. So it's like a slight vibration when you're idling or low RPM driving. So at some point I will address that, but yeah, we don't really talk about the daily. If it leaks, it's got fluid, and yeah, we don't talk about that. But my front axle is still holding up great, so that's nice at least. But yeah, again, we also we don't